So I just made a video talking about what my favorite decades are. Well, I just looked at through the decades in movies, decided to pick out one as my favorite. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for video games. And well, I just skipped through the 1970s because, well, other than Pawn and Space Invaders, I can't really think of what else came out through that decade. So I'm gonna start off with the 1980s. So, 1980s. You know, I like the style of the games, like the graphics and all that 8-bit. And the NES. The main problem for me is these games are just way too hard from the 1980s, and you can't save. Those are my two main concerns for them, because, well, I mean, you're going to call me a noob or whatever, but for me, the 1980s games are just too hard. But I do like some, like Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, Metroid, the first Metal Gear on the MSX, I believe is what it was on. Yeah. So, 1980s. Next, 1990s. Now, the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era is when video games really started to pick up for me in my terms of interest. There were a lot of good games coming out through that time period, such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario World, Street Fighter 2, which is my favorite game of the decade, and there are RPGs such as Chrono Trigger, which I haven't played, but there's still a lot there I would like to play. And then the PS1, Nintendo 64 era, which I like a lot too. Tekken, Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII, Parasite Eve. Yeah, lots of good games for it. I can't really believe it. And there's also Nintendo 64, which had Super Smash Bros. And Super Mario 64. The next was the 2000s. Yeah, I picked two Final Fantasy games in a row. I didn't really notice I did that. I probably should have picked another game, but the 2000s continued with the PS2, Nintendo GameCube, and Xbox. I like a lot of the games here too, like the Dead Alive on the Xbox game, the Dead Alive games on the Xbox. Also Final Fantasy X, Yakuza, Yakuza 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yeah, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Also Persona 3, Persona 4, Tekken Tag Tournament. Well, I mean, that actually came out in 1999. There's also Tekken 5 that came out this decade, though. That was a really good game. And there's also Soul Calibur 2, another classic and one of my favorites. So the 2000s decade was very good. As in terms of the PS3 Wii era, I like some more Galaxy, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And I like, I probably should have done some rehearsing or something, but yeah, the 2000s was a very good decade. Then next is the 2010s, which for me is a kind of a drop from the 2000s in terms of interest. But I do like some of the games, especially like a Super Mario 3D World. I love that game. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. The Yakuza games, such as Yakuza 0, Yakuza 5. And I'd really like to play Persona 5. And yeah, so I guess it's been a step down from the 2000s, 1990s. So, was my favorite decade? I'm actually going to go, it's really close. I'm actually going to go with the 2000s. Just because the 2000, even the PS1 era did bring us some good games later, such as Final Fantasy IX, Medieval 2. Yeah.